Aye. Sorry. Okay. Very good. I want to welcome everybody to the Town Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for April 26, 2023. If everybody could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Noreen, if you're on, could you do the roll call, please?
Chairman Payne,
Here.
Commissioner Claffey,
Here.
Commissioner Haggerty,
Here.
Commissioner Havens,
Here.
Commissioner Linares,
Here.
Commissioner Trister,
Here.
Commissioner Woods,
Here.
Commissioner Droz,
Here.
Commissioner Pascarelli.
Gia sent a message in. She's excused. She had a work conflict.
Okay.
And Commissioner Gill has resigned.
Resigned. I had that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
You're
you.
all set.
Thank you, Noreen.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, approval of the agenda. We should be all set.
There's only
Just a spelling error.
one item in the spelling error, yep, for Noble versus Nobel.
And we will go right to public participation. If there's anybody online wishing to speak, please raise your hand in the Zoom application if you'd like to participate. If you're calling into the Zoom meeting by telephone, *9 to raise your hand to be recognized, or use *6 when recognized by speaking by telephone. Is there anyone online there?
No one online has their hand raised.
Anybody in
Mr.
the
Chairman.
room would like to address us? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to remarks by commissioners in case the commissioners have any remarks. Okay, hearing none, we're going to move to our, well, there's no public hearing. So we will move to the approval of minutes. We have a approval of minutes from meeting April 12th, 2023. Motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made by Commissioner Havens. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Trista. Any discussion or corrections on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Our first new business, Commissioner Linares, if you could read petition 0723 for the record, please.
Sure. Petition 07-23, certificate of location approval for a gas station at 751 Russell Road, applicant Noble Energy Real Estate Holdings, LLC, contact Kevin Soley, owner, HTC 1 LLC.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right. For the record, my name is Luke Morrow. I'm a senior project manager with Soley Engineering office in Monroe, Connecticut. And tonight we'll be here on behalf of the owner and applicant Noble Real Estate Holdings LLC for a gas station location approval for the previously approved site plan and special permits for the Noble Energy facility you guys had approved back in October for the Noble facility proposed at 751 Russell in Newington. So as required by state statutes, I believe it's section 14-321, each town has its own entity, it's been appointed to approve the sale of gasoline or motor oil, in town, which then by approval goes to the state commissioner for a permit for the sale for gasoline throughout the state. So we're here tonight just to present and hopefully get a location approval for the sale of gasoline at the Noble site at 751 Russell Road. So, I guess not too much to add to that before, except that, as I had mentioned, it was approved, I believe, on October 26th for site plan and special permits The overall development includes not only gas, but it also had EV charging, if you recall, car wash, and an electrical vehicle showroom as well. But we're here tonight just for the sale of gasoline. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Okay, very good. We'll go to the staff in case they have anything they'd like to report to us on this.
Yeah, so just to familiarize the commission, because I know it's not often that a new gas station gets approved. Since it was noted, this is actually required by the Connecticut General Statutes. It is not required by the sections that actually establish zoning. This is separate within motor vehicles. And so the commission is acting as an agent of the state of Connecticut. So again, this is a separate type of approval. As noted in the staff report, that the actual sections regarding kind of the finding of suitability and the criteria were actually repealed in 2003 and have been that way. So again, it requires certificate of location approval for this site. The state statute doesn't have specific criteria on that. However, when it did review in the past, it was primarily that proximity to schools, proximity to that, and even if you were looking at that, this site, doesn't have that type of proximity. Also, it was found to be, of course, it was approved by TPZ. Therefore, it is compliant with the Newington zoning regulations, and that's one of the primary things with the statute is it compliant with zoning regs, and it does require commission sign off rather than a administrative sign off.
ZBA used to do this, and then it came back, the state changed it, and they're sending it back to TPZ instead. Is that correct?
The history on this one, there are 2 COLAs that are required by the state. One is for gasoline sales, the other is for repair and sales of automobiles. Per the state statutes, repairs and sales of automobiles still says ZBA. This says zoning commission. It has flip-flopped back and forth to which commission. I don't, no one truly knows why the state has done it so many times back and forth, repealed sections of it, reinstated it. This is one of the areas that the land use lawyers, when we meet at Casio and other organizations, say is one of the messier areas of the statutes that's just been meddled with a little, too much back and forth, back and forth. So again, yes, ZBA still is listed as the automobile repair, but zoning commission specifically is for gasoline sales.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the commissioners for staff?
Thank you, Chairman. Just in regards to what you said about there being 2 COLAs, I remember when we did this a few months ago, there was some concern that there was public participation. I indicated they were concerned there's going to be auto sales at this location. So I just want to make sure that there is a separate COLA for that, and it's not like a blanket COLA that could be used for that down the road.
Yes, this is just strictly for gasoline sales.
They're gonna come back for one for the repairs license for the EV showroom
Okay.
at some point in the future.
Okay. Very good.
Any other questions? If there's no questions, I suggest that we'll just move on to old business. And petition 0723 under old business. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Thank you.
Petition 0723, certificate of location approval for a gas station at 751 Russell Road. Applicant Noble Energy Real Estate Holdings LLC. Contact Kevin Soley, owner HDC 1 LLC. Motion to approve, move to approve. Certificate of location, reasons for this approval. The location is consistent with the Newington zoning regulations.
Motion made by Commissioner Woods. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Havens. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, next thing would be, there's nothing under the petitions for public hearing scheduling, so we'll move on to a town planner's report concerning current land use applications.
So the land use applications, there currently haven't been any major ones received. We're working fine tuning ones. The one thing I did want to show you, if you like to advance to the next slide, what I do actually have on the screen on 4/21/23 is just to give the commission, as I've been updating on what's been going on with the projects. Cedar Street, that is kind of, everyone can kind of see the progress there, but 3333 Berlin Turnpike, I can have a bird's eye view of it taken on 4/21. I have 3 pictures in here for you, so you can kind of just see the site. Most people while driving by only see the front building, can't really see the interior of the site. So again, you have a picture here from looking over the Berlin Turnpike, looking across the site. You can see the supermarket in the front, the commercial buildings in the middle, and in the far rear is the residential. I'll actually move to the next photo. So this is from the rear of the site looking, you can actually see, bottom left is the start of, another building. You can see the other building above it in construction being framed out. And then to the right of that is the next residential building where you can see the towers built and the foundations, and they're working towards that. And then on the next slide, it's kind of mid-site. Again, you have an idea of, these are all the commercial buildings. They're pretty much up. They're working on windows. They're working on all of that at this time. Again, closing in the envelope, and they are proceeding. And they even have the area of the center started grading out and getting ready for the parking lot. So there is progress being made on site. Again, I had the opportunity to have these photos and share them with the commission, just so people and the public can see kind of what's going on site. Because it isn't the easiest one to drive by and see.
Mhm. Very good.
So other than that, the cannabis sign regulation amendment has been submitted. The timing on that one, because of the CROG notice and everything, will be on the June 14th meeting. A public hearing that will be scheduled. I did look into the Clean Air Act that was raised at the last meeting. There are requirements for the infrastructure for charging stations, and I'm reading through those, looking at what is out there, and I hope to have at the next meeting some draft language, because there could be slightly different ways we go about it and how we consider it in our zoning regulations. So my plan on that is at the next meeting to have some draft regulations to look at, to kind of workshop those through the commission, and then propose a regulation amendment. From there, I've also been looking with the town manager and other people in the town. There are lots of different grant opportunities for the bipartisan infrastructure law. The main one out there right now that the DOT, state DOT and federal DOT is pushing is the Safe Streets for All. It's a $5 billion program over 5 years, $1 billion a year. It requires a planning component and that, so it's something that I'm looking into. I attended a webinar, CT Built, which is our own DOT, and then I attended another webinar today actually for federal DOT, who went over the process. So I'm looking at that and pulling things together. Newington Junction, I met with actually with the other towns, met with CROG yesterday, kind of went over the preliminary findings. We are narrowing down, it's basically the narrative on that. The interesting trend that I'm kind of seeing across a lot of towns is not that many sites are actually what we would consider development ready in the black, just because of construction costs right now. Everything's a little inflated. So going forward, hopefully that'll come down. But right now, it's one of those where a lot of the sites that they looked at don't potentially pencil out. So that's kind of what they're looking at. It's not finalized yet, but it's kind of a trend across the construction industry right now of what pencils out and what doesn't, going from there for construction costs and actually what it could sell for. And from there, and again, that's Enfield, Windsor Locks, Windsor, Hartford, Weathersfield, and then New Britain, Berlin, they're all participating in this as well. I like not Weathersfield, West Hartford, sorry. West Hartford and all of them, they're all participating in this as well. And that is the summation of my report.
Very good, thank you. Any questions from the commissioners for our town planner? Under communications is the next item, which is the CROG letters. Does anybody have any questions concerning the CROG letters or no other communications, correct? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to public participation. If there's anybody online that would like to speak, please raise your hand, or anybody in the room.
Nobody online has their hand raised.
Okay, hearing none, any remarks from the commissioners?
I have a question.
Certainly, go ahead, Commissioner Clappy.
I noticed today I was driving up the Pike. Again, I'll reiterate the amount of temporary signs on some of these buildings. There's 4, 5, 6 of them at some of the buildings. There's 12, 13 banners out, balloons out. And I noticed the Puerto Vallarta parking lot being realigned and changed, and a couple foot of cut taken out on the side.
They're repaving it, my understanding. There's no realignment. They're redoing the curbing and everything and repaving it, as far as I know.
You wanna double check that, because there's about 3, 4, some, I'll let you look at it. So, okay, that was it. I don't know where we're standing with all the temporary banners and signs and.
I have issued a number of permits for temporary banners in the last month or so.
Okay, what about the flags or no, I don't wanna use that word. The
Wind.
Waivers. I mean, they're out every day, 7 days a week. Past, I don't know how many months you want me to go back, but I mean, there's gotta be something we can do. Or we change the regulation to allow them to have a different type waivers closer to their building and not right on the right of way. So, I mean, we've talked about that for years. So, I mean, it's starting to look a little circusy.
I think that's a discussion, the commission could have. One thing to consider, it's, again, it might not have the desired outcome. It might, if you permit someone to have one closer to the building, you might see closer to the building permitted and then still see the ones out in the right of way and that same proliferation. So that's something, if it is something the commission wants to look at, we can look at that, see if there is any model for that.
Well, there's
type of
some
signage.
buildings that have 4 temporary signs, A-frames. We're not talking about the 4 higher ones, because we have discussed that over the past years, that we kind of let people put those up. But I mean, you go to Wren Kitchens for the past year and a half, they've had 4 temporary signs because they don't want to put any decals on their windows because they want you to see into their store. So instead they put them all out on the sidewalks. So I don't know, it's just I don't see it in other areas around town.
Maybe we'll have staff look at that and then present something to us at the next meeting on how you think these things can be addressed best.
Okay.
All right, any other commissioners have any comments concerning that? Commissioner Woods?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if we could get an update from our town attorney on any of the legal matters that are in front of the commission.
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want the town attorney here or just get it through the town planner is acceptable?
Yeah.
So just through the town planner, if we could just have an update of outstanding legal issues. Okay,
It's been a while, I think, since we've heard.
sure.
Right.
I think there's several of them that are taking a long time in court.
Yeah, we don't need to do an executive session, so you just take it. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that would probably be a possible executive session if we're going to discuss legal cases, yes. Any other requests? Okay,
Just want to congratulate the chairman on running a very efficient meeting at 7:20, and he's looking for adjournment next.
so moved. Well, it's easy to do when there's not much on it. So, if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn. So moved. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, everybody, and good night.
I think that shatters. I think that shatters the old record. It was like,
Yeah, they didn't, yeah. Almost about
Yeah, we have literally. For like 5 minutes.